Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. All right, so I have some news, and it's really my family that is causing me some grief, and I feel bad because my mom's 89 and she was just evicted from her house. Now, I have to say the sheriff's department did a pretty good job. They were really communicating with me, and they were really nice, and there's nothing they could do. They're only following the orders from the court. So back in like February, my mom's house was foreclosed upon, and it's really mainly because she didn't pay the mortgage and she had the money, but we knew that she was developing some kind of, maybe dementia, but she hasn't been out of the house in like 2 years because she has like a vascular problem in her legs and she's just not cooperative. I mean, it's a situation in, I believe it's like Pennsylvania law. You really can't do anything for people that have like a mental illness, or I mean hers is dementia. I'm not sure if that's just considered a mental illness or if it's just part of old age. I mean, I know it's part of old age, but I'm not really sure how it's all defined. So anyway, I researched this site that I'm looking at right now. I don't know this lawyer, but he really gave a lot of helpful information. I was able to tell my mom that during the foreclosure and the sheriff's sale, that this is how it's going to happen. You're going to have to go to court. And it says, the deed isn't transferred for 21 days after the foreclosure and the sale to the new owner. So you can actually file something. So we did get her, she had a lawyer through like the Corporation for Aging. They refer out, but at one point during this process, now it's January 2020, at one point during this process, I had to call the Corporation for Aging and tell them that her lawyer apparently said that there was a default judgment. And I said, well, if there's a default judgment, that means she didn't show up for court. So where was her attorney? And I said, you're not representing her properly. Her rights are being violated. Well, after that phone call, that was like in September, they called her back and they said, we're going to get you a new attorney and we are going to file to get your house back. But I think at that point it was too late. I don't know. See, she never let me talk to the attorney because she's just recalcitrant. This is what happens sometimes in old age. People don't accept help. They don't want you interfering, and I totally get it. I mean, how do we know that we're not going to be like that when we're 89? We don't want to lose our, freedom. My mom had 3 cats. She loved the cats, but she just wouldn't really trust anyone to help her. So I'm just showing you this website because she used to say to me, oh, you're so smart. I said, Mom, I'm just reading off the internet. This is a lawyer and he seems like a really good attorney, but these lawyers are expensive. My mom had to go through the Philadelphia Corporation for Aging because she's low income. These lawyers, I think they want like $3,000 just to represent you. Well, if you had $3,000, you would have paid your rent or whatever. So when you're removed from your house for a foreclosure, it's called an ejectment. If you're a tenant with a landlord, that's an eviction. But it's really basically the same thing. So a notice was put on her door that she was going to be evicted on January 8th. Even though it's an ejectment, it's still an eviction. The sheriff came yesterday, and I had spoken with them. Let me just take this off. Okay. So I had spoken with the lawyer on probably Tuesday, but I'm not the lawyer. I'm sorry, the sheriff. And I have to tell you, Bill was amazing. He gave me his phone number. I could call him anytime. And another guy, Dave, he listened to me like 15 minutes. He was like a counselor almost. It's really upsetting. It is an older person. She does have some medical problems, but she hasn't been treated because she doesn't go to the doctor. She doesn't really like doctors. Well, she's real allergic to everything. So I guess what I'm saying is she's kind of protecting herself by not going to the doctor because, they always want you to take a lot of medicine. So I have to say it really went pretty good, except when they did arrive at her house, they use a locksmith. If you don't open the door, they will use a locksmith and go in and tell you you're being evicted. So they had to evaluate her to see if she had to go to the hospital, and what they never saw the woman, so they need to see what's going on here. She is 89. So let me take this off again. This is what I want to tell you, that now I look back, it's humorous. So I said to my mom, okay, they're there now. Well, I need to talk to the sheriff. Please put him on the phone. And there was so much commotion. She was like, oh, he just went outside. So somebody picks up the phone. And I was saying, well, what's going to happen to our cats? And they're like, the cats are being taken to a non-kill shelter where they'll be adopted out. And I don't know about the older cat. The one cat was actually 21 years old. So I said, well, can she get the cats back? I mean, maybe she'll go to some apartment or whatever and she can get her cat. No, you can't get, I said, but your possessions have to be placed into storage for like 30 days and you can still get your possessions back. Why can't you get your cats back? So the woman started getting argumentative with me. And so finally, she says to me, well, that's more than you did, or something like that. And I said, can I have your name? Because I was going to say, can I have your name and badge number, please? I thought it was a police officer. She was like, I'm the neighbor. Well, I know the neighbor. I know this neighbor, not personally, but I met her. I've talked with her maybe 3 times in the past 10 years, okay? And I think she was somewhat friendly with my mother. I mean, her and her sons cleaned up my mom's yard for her, all the weeds and everything. Because my mom let her park in the back, in the driveway, and that was the exchange. So the woman starts saying, like, yelling at me, like screaming, I'm not kidding, screaming, like I didn't do anything. And I said, who are you? Okay, you're the neighbor. I said, well, hon, I called an attorney 5 years ago, and he told me it's very difficult. I guess in the state of Pennsylvania, he said it's very difficult to get somebody declared incompetent. And I was telling him some of the things my mom was doing, and he just wouldn't take the case. He really discouraged me. Like, I wasn't trying to get millions of dollars out of my mother. My mom has like no money at all. No, just the Social Security, no assets. All right, so my mom just decides not to pay her mortgage, and she had the money. It was very low. They were just making her pay the interest. So what I'm saying is, this neighbor says to me, you know where to come and get me. And I was like, why does this woman want to fight me? Why is she blaming me for all this when it's really the system? I mean, I would have helped my mother by getting a power of attorney if I could have, but the lawyer was like, you just can't do that. Doesn't happen. And Social Security, by the way, does not honor power of attorneys. You can become a guardian and you share the bank account with the older person, but they do not honor power of attorneys. So this woman wants to fight me, blaming me, doesn't even know one situation about how a person with dementia can be really recalcitrant. Nothing I can do. I mean, the Philadelphia Corporation for Aging had called me at least once, acting like I can do something. I'm like, well, if you can't do something, how do you expect me? What do you want me to do? Why don't you get a lawyer and declare her incompetent? Because my mom was calling the police a lot for some noises, and it's really sad because I hate to take away independence from people, but sometimes it's for their best interest. But I was really shocked. What bothered me most about this whole situation was the neighbor wanted to fight me. I don't even know the woman. I don't even think she knows my first name. And that's been bothering me for a day now. I'm trying not to think about it. So my mom's in a safe place now, and we're going to find her some housing. One thing I have to say, the sheriff's department they were really nice. I can't imagine having a job like that. You're removing people, but, like an older person especially. But, really for my mom's best interest, she needed to get out of there anyway. I don't think she can really take care of herself. And I certainly can't take care of her. She has medical things, and I'm taking care of my husband. He's bedridden. I just can't take care of another person. And, it'd be like taking care of a baby almost. For an older person that needs constant care, would have to go to the doctor a lot, and she can't even step out. Her legs are powerless. I think she has like a vascular, whatever it is. I mean, an older person, 89, still, I'd say, in relatively good health, but now she's in a system, and we're just going to find her a safe place. But it's really bothering me that I'm being blamed for not doing anything. But, my brother was buying my mom food, so it wasn't like she was starving. And it's just she didn't want to talk to us. And if someone says, I don't want to talk to you, or like they're rejecting you because you're really just trying to help them, I mean, what can you do? So it's not my fault she was evicted. I mean, I told her 2 years ago, I hope you're paying your mortgage because you will be taken out eventually. So it happened 2 years later, the foreclosure, and the bank tried to work with her. I think deep down she wanted to get out of there and didn't want the responsibility anymore of, taking care of all the 3 cats. And in Philadelphia, you can't have more than, I think it's 4 cats. You can have 3, 4, and that's it. Once that, well, then even if you have 25 cats, it still takes a while, to remove the cat. They don't just come in and barge in on you, thank God, right? We have rights. So the only thing I didn't like is when they were taking her out, they took her to a hospital. They told me she was going to one of the hospitals, which there are 2 like that. I won't want to say the name, but you know how many hospitals there are in Philadelphia? There's like 15 hospitals. So finally, after calling like 5 of the ERs, they did not have her. The one that actually had my mother in the ER was the one I called, and they said, we don't have her here. So I had to call the sheriff back. Luckily, he picked up after like an hour. And he said, oh, they took her to this hospital. So one of the nurses at one of the hospitals was so nice. She said, call the fire department because the rescue squad took her. So they'll know they have to have a record. All I'm thinking, I'm freaking out. I'm talking to my husband. What if they took her? What if they don't know where they did with her? What if she's missing? What do I do? Of course, I'm making a big story of this because it's very upsetting. But I just want to let you know that the sheriff's office, I think, handled it pretty well. They were really nice to me. And I don't know if they really understand why I'm not taking my mother in, but I just can't take care of a person like that. Like, I think it's more like the mental thing than the physical. But, like I said, I'm taking care of my husband, and there's only so much a person can do. And she'll be in a good place. She'll take care of her. And that's really what she needs because she hasn't been to the doctor in a long time. So I just thought I would tell you, Sheriff's Office, thumbs up. Thumbs up to Sheriff's Office. Thumbs up to this website. It helped me a lot just by letting me know. Now, this is not legal advice. This is just letting you know what's on the books. This is what happens. So you need a lawyer, really. I really feel like my mom should have had a lawyer right from the beginning. Right when the foreclosure happened, not 3 months later as what really happened. So the neighbor, thumbs down to her for wanting to fight me. That's so upsetting. I'm already under stress, and you're yelling at me like it's my fault. I mean, people make choices, And if you're not competent, you should be declared. It should be easier, to declare somebody incompetent. I'm sorry that years ago somebody spent 25 years in a mental institution because the family wanted the millions of dollars or whatever. That's not usually the case. So thanks for tuning in. I hope not too long here. And, I just really thought I should make this because it'll educate people what happened in my situation. Just ask a lot of questions because they're not just going to volunteer. Like the sheriff's office is not going to volunteer all this information like what's going to happen because they told me things at the last minute that were a little different than what they told me on Tuesday. So the eviction happened yesterday. But I have to say, overall, I do have to give them a thumbs up because they were they seemed very compassionate. I couldn't believe it because I know they probably get a bad rap. You know, bad rap that you're removing people from their house. But, you know, in this world, you got to pay. That's what it happens. Money talks. All right, guys. Love you all. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you in next video.